Welcome everybody. I'm Katya Campbell. Today's yoga practice is all about releasing and mobilizing our hips. So please, as always, move at your own pace. If anything doesn't feel right, stop, adjust, and listen to your body first and foremost. In terms of equipment, the only thing that you might need is a block, or you could even use a small pillow or a folded blanket. So let's just begin in a comfortable seated position. You could take that block underneath your hips if you'd like. So you can sit yourself up nice and tall. You can fold the legs into a comfortable cross-legged position if you'd like. And thinking about lengthening up into the crown of your head, like someone's pulling a string up. From here, we can roll the shoulders back and down, and then close the eyes. And let's just arrive with a few full, deep belly breaths. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale through an open mouth. Good. Again, inhale through the nose. Exhale, open mouth. And then just letting the breath come back into its natural rhythm. And just noticing how your body's feeling this morning or today. If there's any areas of your body that might require a little bit more of your love and attention throughout your practice today, let's hold those spaces in our awareness as we move. And feeling the shoulders relaxing away from the ears. And allow your jaw to relax, a small separation between your teeth. The eyes relaxing. Good. And then gently opening the eyes. So let's bring the soles of our feet together now. And we can line our heels up. Often if the hips are out of alignment, you might find that one foot will kick forward a little bit more than the other. So lining them up and then pulling those heels in towards the pubic bone. Now if we wrap our hands around the shins or the ankles here, we can kind of leverage the upper body upright. Pulling the shoulders down a little bit. Nice big inhale. And as you exhale, let's slowly begin to come forward. Now, for some of us, coming forward means that we need to hunch forward. So let's stop at that end point, thinking about keeping that distance between the pubic bone and the breastbone the same as you move forward. And if you feel like it begins to shorten, then you can stop and lengthen, have a few breaths, and then see if you can deepen in a little bit more. And just letting the breath work its magic here. So each exhalation can draw you into that pose just a little bit more. We're not muscling our way through here. We're just letting the body release with the breath. Good. One more big breath. And then slowly, you can ease all the way up. Now let's use our hands on the knees to help guide them all the way back up. And then we can extend the legs out nice and wide along the floor. So only going as wide as you can while able to sit yourself upright. So if you start to feel that sort of backwards leaning, then either close the distance between the legs or get more height underneath your seat. So from here, we can draw a line from our heels to our sitting bones and press that line downwards. And that's where we're anchoring our body from. Now hands will come back behind us and we can spider tip onto the fingers. Inhale as you sit yourself up tall and roll the shoulders down. And as you exhale, slowly begin to come forward over your legs. And you can keep that pressure through the fingertips to help lengthen your spine forward. Now, if you feel comfortable in this position without the pressure of your hands behind you, you can then begin to walk your hands forward if you have that range of motion. But again, just like in the last pose, let's try and keep that front line of the body really nice and long. Firm the backs of your legs down into the floor, engaging the front of your thighs a little bit. Reach into the heels. And let's think about rolling our pubic bone down towards the floor as we lift the sitting bones up and back behind us. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly walk yourself all the way back up. Okay, so from here, we're going to bring our left knee, or left foot rather, and bring it in towards this midline of the body. So we still have our body sort of facing forward and we have our legs extending out to the side. Firm the back of the right thigh down. Inhale nice and tall. And as you exhale, we're going to take our left arm and reach the left arm over to the outside of the right leg. Now we could extend all the way down and grab a hold of the foot if you have that range of motion. You could also use a strap around the foot. Otherwise though, let's think about lengthening from your left hip through the left lower side of your back all the way up into your armpit. And then draw your breath into that area on the left side of your lower back. The muscle that we're trying to target here is the QL. It's a short little muscle in the base of the lower back on either side of the spine there. So if we inhale, we can pull the breath into the lower rib area, expand it. And then as you exhale, see if you can lengthen in. Now, if your hamstrings are super tight, you might just be feeling it in the back of your right leg, and that's fine too. Nice big inhale. Exhale, let your body deepen into that pose. Good, and then slowly coming all the way back up. So we'll extend the left leg out then, and then take the right leg in towards the body, and make sure again that we're still facing towards the center. So we haven't pivoted our body to face towards that left leg. Firm the back of your left thigh down, nice big inhale, reach tall. And as you exhale, we'll take that right arm and we'll bring it all the way across to the outside of our left leg, or if we have that flexibility, we can grab our left foot. Now try to keep the right hip connected to the floor. Slowly lengthening that right arm towards the foot. And then again, drawing the breath down into that right side of the lower back and into the right side of the rib cage. One more big breath. And then slowly lengthen the body all the way back up. And let's extend that right leg out nice and wide again. Hands coming back behind you onto the fingertips one more time. Inhale, lengthen up nice and tall. And as you exhale, slowly begin to come forward again. Rolling the pubic bone down towards the floor. Lifting the sitting bones up and back behind you. And remembering to keep the backs of your legs active here. The spine long. One more big breath. And then slowly rising all the way up. And let's slide the legs all the way back together, and we can give them a little bit of a shake. Good. And then bending both of your knees so your feet plant onto the floor in front of you. From here, we're going to be bringing our left leg underneath our right leg so that the left heel comes to the outside of the right hip. And we want to center that left knee into the very midline of the body. So rather than having it kicking way out to the side, we're going to bring it right in front of us. Now we want to lean way over to our left hip here. And this is going to make this next part quite a bit easier the more that we lean over to that side. We'll step our right foot now over to the outside of the left knee, and we can even start to work it back towards the hip if we have that range of motion. And so for some of us, this may be enough of a stretch and it may be deep enough and you could just stay here. To go further, start to sit that right hip back down towards the floor so we're leveling out the pelvis. Again, this may be enough for you. So you could stay here. Big inhale. And then as you exhale, if you like to go further and you still have some more mobility to move into, then slowly start to lean your body forward. And the more that you come forward, the more acutely you'll feel that intensity through the right hip and maybe even into that left glute and hip as well. As we come forward though, we want to keep the pelvis really balanced, so keep anchoring through that right sitting bone. And then we can soften the shoulders and just have a few full breaths here. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly ease yourself all the way back up. And let's unwrap the legs. Okay, so we'll take our right leg now underneath our left leg, centering the knee into the very midline, and then leaning over to that right hip a whole lot. We can step our left leg over and across. We could stay here if it's enough, or start to draw the heel back towards that hip. And then again, we'll start to root that left sitting bone now down to the floor, so getting really level through the pelvis. If you'd like to go further, let's inhale, lengthen up, and then exhale, slowly begin to come forward. Now there should be no pain in the knees, and if there is, then you definitely need to back off out of this. We want to be feeling this just through our hips, maybe even into the glutes and into the hamstrings. If the knees are at all cranky, another thing that you could do is prop a little pillow underneath the knees and see if that helps, and if it doesn't, then let's avoid any sort of knee pain or pressure. So then from here, let's just soften the shoulders, relax the eyes, and have a couple of deep, full breaths, flowing the breath right into the back of your body and down into your belly. Good, and then slowly easing yourself all the way back up. And then we'll unwrap our legs and let's give them a little bit of a shake. Good. Okay, so we can slide off of that blocker pillow and move that off to the side. And let's come on over into all fours. So once we get into all fours, centering the hands directly below the shoulders and the knees directly below the hips. So let's inhale here with a neutral spine. And as you exhale, we'll slowly begin to round the back. As we round the back, let's pull the belly button in and look towards the belly button. And then inhale, slowly draw the lower back into the body, rolling the sitting bones up, opening up the chest, looking up. Exhale, scoop the tailbone under, roll along your spine, look towards the belly button. Inhale, opposite direction. Just keep going a few more times with your own length of breath and rhythm. And then slowly all the way back to all fours. So from all fours, if we bring our hands just a little bit closer together and then step the right leg forward to the outside of our right hand. So from here, let's center our left hand right underneath our left shoulder. We can bring our right hand onto our right knee. We're just going to be pressing the knee out as we lean back and away. Have a nice big breath. And as we exhale, we can bring the knee back into the center and then draw it away from us, press the knee out. Now, as we do this sort of in and out with this knee, try to keep that right big toe mound connected to the floor the whole time. So we'll just move in and out a few times, bringing the knee back to center and then pressing the knee out as you lean away. Good. And then bring the knee back into the middle of the mat, bringing the hands right below the shoulders. Let's elevate our back knee now up off of the floor. We're going to take our right arm and spin the right arm up towards the ceiling. Nice big inhale. Exhale. Let's bring that right leg to the right hand to the outside of our right foot now. So hands straddling that right foot. We're going to hop our back foot forward just a little bit. And then slowly begin to straighten that right leg to whatever degree you can manage. Now notice that I'm rooting my back heel towards the floor. So if we angle that back heel in a little bit and then drop it down, press the right big toe mound down, and as you inhale, pull the chest forward, lengthening through the back. Good. Inhale. As you exhale, rebend your front knee and lower the back knee all the way back down to the floor. And then we can step the right leg back. So bring the hands towards one another, and then stepping the left foot to the outside of your left hand. Right hand can plant below the right shoulder, and then left hand coming onto your left knee. So from here, we'll press the knee out to the side and lean away, and then bring the knee back towards center. Press the knee to the left, open the chest, bring it back in. A few more times, flossing that left hip. Keeping that left big toe mound planted on the floor. Good, and then bring it back into the very center. Hands planting. Slowly elevate the back knee up off of the floor. Keep the right hand below the right shoulder. Inhale. And as you exhale, take your left arm all the way up towards the ceiling, spiraling through the chest. Inhale. Exhale, slowly bring the left hand down to the outside of your left foot. From here, we can step our back foot a little bit closer and slowly begin to straighten the left leg, pulling the left hip back and rooting the back heel towards the floor. Drawing the chest forward, back ribs moving into the body. Nice big breath here. Inhale. As you exhale, slide the back foot back as you rebend the left knee and bring your right knee all the way back down to the floor. And then we'll step that left leg all the way back. So again, we'll bring our right leg forward to the outside of our right wrist. And then from here, bending that right knee a lot so that we can really pull our hips far forward and lengthen up into the spine. Now, for some of us, this may be enough, and you could just maintain this for a few more breaths. Otherwise, let's take the left elbow now down to the floor. And if that's enough, we could stay there. If you want to go further, bring the right elbow down as well. The other thing that we could also do is take that block or pillow, place it below the elbows and plant the elbows onto there just to bridge that distance a little bit. Now in this position, we want to keep that right knee pulling in towards the shoulder. And we're bending that right knee a lot, pulling those hips far forward. Nice big breath here. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly walk yourself back up onto your hands. And then we can step that leg all the way back. Okay, so let's take the left foot forward now to the outside of the left wrist. Bend the left knee a lot, really pulling those hips far forward. And then we can lower the right elbow towards the floor, and then maybe even the left if we have that range of motion. Remember, we want to keep that left foot planted on the ground. Breathing into the back body here. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly walk yourself back up onto your hands and slide that leg all the way back. So we're back into all fours now. From all fours, let's widen the knees quite wide apart, bringing the big toes to touch. So quite a bit wider than a traditional child's pose. The knees are actually coming off of the mat. From here, pressing through the hands and drawing the hips back towards the heels. So we're really lengthening through the insides of the thighs. And then we can sink down onto the forearms. Now this may well be enough, and you could stay here. To go a little bit further, start to sink your belly and your chest and your head all the way down towards the floor as well. And you can turn your head and rest on one cheek if you'd like. Nice full breath here. As you exhale, let those hips sink and get nice and heavy. One more breath. And then exhaling, slowly press yourself back up onto your hands, and we can draw the knees back into an all fours position. Okay. So from here, we're going to come all the way up onto the knees, and we'll step our left leg forward back into that lunge position. Interlace the fingers, stretch the arms up nice and tall, inhale. And as you exhale, slowly start to bend that left knee as far forward as you can. Now, as we do that, we want to make sure that we're not overly curving through our lower back here. So we don't want to really like drop out through the front of the ribs. So think about keeping the ribs in and scooping the tailbone down so that our focus is on opening the front of the hip and then reaching up through the arms. So keep your lower belly and your pelvic floor engaged and keep scooping that tailbone under, even as we bend that left knee a lot. Nice big breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, release the arms down and press that left leg all the way back. So let's take the right leg forward now. Interlace the fingers, inhale. And as you exhale, sweep the arms all the way up over your head, bending that right knee a lot, but remember to keep that tailbone tucked, the pelvic floor engaged, the lower belly engaged, and the ribs not jamming out in front of the body. Reaching up into the thumb side of your hands here. Straighten those arms. Breathe. Slowly release the arms down and step the leg all the way back. Okay, so let's come all the way up to standing. We're going to need something to put our hands on for balance. So you could use a wall, a chair, a couch, or whatever you have nearby. So what we're going to do now is come towards that chair and bring your hands onto it for balance. So we're hinging over just a little bit. Now we're going to bend both of our legs and then hook our left ankle onto the top of our right thigh, just above the knee. Now from here, we can slowly start to take our hips back and down as if we're sitting on a chair that's just a little bit too far back for us. Now keeping that flexion through the left foot, that will help to stabilize the left knee. You want to be feeling that inside that left hip and inside the left glute, and that's where we want to be feeling it, not any sort of pain in the left knee. One more big breath. And then slowly release. So let's bend the knees a touch. Hook the right ankle now just above your left knee. Flex your left foot. And then slowly draw those hips back and down. As you do that, releasing into that right hip. Good. And then slowly releasing. And we're going to do the same thing now in a seated position. And this is a great one to be doing, especially if you're sitting for long periods of time, if you're traveling for long periods of time, anything where we're sort of really compressing this area. This is a useful one. So similar to this, it's just a little bit more adaptable. So what we'll do now is cross the left ankle on top of our right thigh, flex that left foot, and then the same idea, we'll just sit ourselves up nice and tall, inhale, and then as you exhale, slowly begin to come forward over that leg. Now, just like when we began and we were focusing on that length of the front of the body, it's the same thing here. So when we come forward, let's not crouch forward, let's maintain that nice length through our spine. So a distance being created between the pubic bone and the breastbone as we come forward. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly sit yourself back up. And let's release that side. We'll take the right ankle now on top of the left knee. Flex that right foot. Sit yourself up tall. And again, if this is enough, you could stay here. Exhale if you'd like to go further, then slowly start to come forward over the leg. As you come forward though, remembering we're keeping our spine long, the shoulders relaxed. And then carry your breath into that area of the body where you're feeling the most resistance here, and see if we can inhale into that area. And then exhale and melt a little bit. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly come all the way back up. And let's unwrap that leg. Great. So coming back up to standing, let's come back to our mat and extend the legs out nice and wide. So we're at least one leg length apart. Toes pointing forward here initially. So inhale, let's engage the hips and glutes, pelvic floor drawing up. And as you exhale, we're going to bend that left knee. Now, as we bend the left knee, we're sending our hips back and our hands can come in front of us for balance. Then we're going to come up and then let's go to the other side, bending the right knee, drawing those hips back, weight into the heel, and then all the way up. We'll just do this a few times. Now, as you do this, try to get a little bit lower each time you go to that one side. So challenging that depth. So again, I'm drawing hips back rather than the knee really far forward. Good. The other side. All the way up. Okay, so now let's try and see if we can go all the way down. Now you could repeat what we were just doing. If possible, you can sink down onto that foot and roll up onto the heel. Now notice my foot is flat. So if it's not able to come all the way to the floor, you can always wedge a little folded towel under there. And then from here, we want to root down into that right sitting bone towards the floor. Nice big breath. And then exhale all the way back up. Let's try that on the other side. Now we could just go as far as we could go and maintain this. If you have that flexibility to root down, you can sink into that hip, rolling onto your left heel. Nice big breath here as you sink that left sitting bone down. And then all the way back up. Good. Just shorten that distance just a little bit, heel toeing those feet a little bit closer together. We'll interlace the fingers back behind us, like so, behind the lower back. Inhale, open up the chest and plug the shoulders down. And as you exhale, slowly begin to come forward. Now, as we come forward, we can drop the crown towards the floor and then sweep the arms away from our lower back, drawing the shoulder blades towards one another. Nice full breath here. Good. And then slowly lower your hands back to your lower back. Strong legs come all the way back up to standing. And let's bring the feet all the way back together. Okay, nice work. So now what we're going to do is we want to take our pillow or our foam block, whatever we have there, and we want to bring it up against some sort of wall. Okay, so I'm going to use the couch here. So what I'll do is I'll bring that block onto the floor, right butted up against the wall. And then I'm going to come into all fours. So let's do that with our feet facing towards the wall. From here, we're going to bring our left knee back and bring the left knee onto the block, and the foot can go straight up the wall. So the top of the foot will be resting on the wall. And then from here, taking our right leg and stepping the right leg forward. So if you need to grab it and draw it forward, you can. Hands down on either side or on the inside of that right leg. And this is a fairly deep stretch through the front of our left hip. Now, you could maintain this with just the hands down on the floor if you'd like. If you're a little bit more flexible and you'd like to take this a little bit further, we can walk our hands now up onto that front right thigh and work towards bringing our hips and shoulders back towards the floor or the wall behind us rather. So in this position, let's scoop that tailbone under and squeeze your bum a little bit, and you'll feel that that really increases that stretch through the left hip. Well, let's try and relax the shoulders And have a few full breaths here. Inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly release the hands back down to the floor. We'll slide that right leg back and the left leg forward. And then we can switch. So let's bring the right knee down onto the block with the foot going up the wall. And then we'll step the left leg forward so that the left foot kind of centers underneath that left knee as much as we can. Now hands can be on the floor if you'd like, drawing the hips forward, or you can start to stack your hands up onto that front leg, scooping the tailbone under and drawing hips and shoulders back. Now remember, we want to keep that tuck of the tailbone happening, again, just like on that last pose where we were taking our arms up, so we don't get that hyperextension through our lower back. So scooping the tailbone and then drawing belly button towards spine to protect the low back here. Have a couple of full breaths, radiating the breath down into the front of that right thigh. Soft shoulders. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly bring your hands back down onto the floor. And then we can slide that left leg back and then the right leg forward. Good. Okay. So we're going to come down into onto our back. If you'd like to have that block underneath your head, you could use that or a pillow. And lay yourself down. So once we get all the way down, we can bend the knees and separate the feet so that they actually come off of the edge of the mat, right to the outsides. Now from here, what we're going to do is take our inside of our left knee and fold the inner left knee down towards the floor. So it's moving down towards that right big toe mound. And now we're going to take our right ankle and stack that on top of the outside of our left knee and let both knees now drop over towards the right. Now you'll notice that that left hip wants to peel up a little bit. So let's just think about anchoring through the back of our left hip slightly. And have a nice big full breath here. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly release right foot and draw the left knee all the way back up. Okay, center out those feet so they're to the outside of the mat again. Let's fold the inside of the right knee now down towards our left big toe. And then taking our left foot and stacking the left foot and ankle to the outside of our right thigh and letting both knees now sink over towards the left, while keeping a little bit of heaviness through the back of our right hip. Nice full breath here. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly release the left and then draw both knees all the way back up. Slowly pulling the knees up towards the chest, hands wrapping around your shins. And let's have a little roll here, side to side. Massaging the back of the hips. Good, and then without rolling here, keeping the knees at the chest, we'll start to separate the knees apart to about shoulder width apart. And now elevate the feet so that the feet face the ceiling. We'll take our hands now and reach our hands up to clasp around the outer edges of our feet. Now, if that's not grabbable, we could always use a strap or a belt around the feet. We can also just simply grab the outsides of the calves or the pant legs if that's easier. So sink those shoulders down towards the floor in this position, and that'll automatically sink the knees down towards the sides of the ribs. Now, nice big inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to release the left foot only and straighten the left leg down onto the floor. Now, a modification would be to just simply bring the left foot to the floor if that feels strong enough for you. We could straighten it out if we want to go a little bit deeper. Full breath here. Inhale. And as you exhale, rebend the left knee, hooking the left hand around the outside of the left foot. And then slowly release the right foot to the floor. And if you'd like to go further, extend the right leg all the way down. And we want to keep the left foot centered above the left knee so the sole of the foot is facing the ceiling. And we're sinking that left knee towards the sides of our ribs here, pulling the shoulder away from the ear a little bit. Nice big breath. And then rebending that right knee back into happy baby again. Inhale. And then as you exhale, drawing the soles of the feet against one another. And we can interlace our fingers around the feet, or we could have our hands around our shins if that's more accessible. Or again, we could use the strap. So think about drawing the shoulders down towards the floor and plugging them away from the ears. Press the soles of the feet against one another, pulling the heels in towards your belly button. Big full breath here. Breathing down into the belly. As you exhale, soften into the upper back and into the shoulders. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly release and set the feet all the way back down onto the floor. Opening the arms out now nice and wide along the floor with the palms of the hands facing up at about the height of the shoulders. We'll cross the right leg now all the way over top of the left leg so that the inner thighs touch and there's no gap between the legs. Now if we lift the hips up and just slide them over to the right just by an inch or two, inhale. And then as you exhale, lowering the knees over towards the left. And as you bring them down, if you feel like the floor is a little bit too far, you could always bring a pillow underneath your left knee or thigh for support. And then letting the head roll back towards the right shoulder and having a few full breaths here. Inhale. And as you exhale, bring the head back to center and slowly bring the knees back up, centering the hips and uncrossing that right leg. Now left leg crossing over top of the right. Lift the hips up and slide them over to the left. Nice big inhale. And as you exhale, slowly lower the legs over to the right. And once you bring them to the right, letting the head roll back in the direction of that left shoulder. A nice full breath here. Breathing down into your belly, out into the side ribs. Inhale. And as you exhale, center the head and bring the knees all the way back up, centering out the hips and uncrossing the legs. And then extending the legs down along the floor one by one. We'll move into shavasana now. If you'd like a pillow below your knees, you could get that, or a blanket over top of your body. You could also place a small blanket, face cloth, or an eye bag if you have it over your eyes. Okay, let's turn the palms up beside us, or if it's more comfortable for you to have your palms down on your belly, you could do that. From here, lengthening the shoulders underneath us a touch and letting the eyes close. And settling in with a few deep breaths. So let's move in through the nose. Exhale through an open mouth. Good. Inhale again through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then just letting the body settle and the breath move back into its natural, effortless rhythm. And feeling the weight of your arms and legs. So we loosen the elbows, the knees, the ankles, and the wrists. Relax your fingers and your toes. As the arms and legs loosen and become heavy, feel that heaviness rolling up into the hips and the shoulders. And feel the connection of the back of your body with the earth. The warmth of the back tucked below you. And that warmth helping to soothe and soften the curves of the spine. As you inhale, feel the rise of your breath like a wave along the front of the body, the belly, the ribs, and the chest expansive. And as you exhale, releasing into your upper back and into your shoulders. Relax the neck and the throat. Relax the jaw. The face expressionless. Relax the eyes, the ears, the brain. And then slowly bringing your awareness back to the sensations of the clothing on your skin, the day around you. But allow that relaxation to remain so it can sweeten the rest of your day. As you feel ready, rolling to one side and easing yourself up. Namaste. Have a wonderful day.